If your top talent were to quit today, how much of your EHS knowledge and data would they take with them? 50%? 90% maybe? See, relying on employees to protect your data is a single point of failure. It is a gamble, and it's one that bankrupts your own stability. See, if your process only lives in someone's head, then you're just renting it. And I've actually been on both sides of this during my 23 years in EHS. You don't need better team building. You need to own the process. Today, I'm sharing the 3 talent plays to help lock EHS knowledge into your operation permanently. Talent play 1 is lead without the delegation vacuum. As a manufacturing leader, you live in delegate and forget mode. You think that you're being an efficient executive, but in reality, you create a vacuum. When you delegate EHS to a person instead of a system, you're actually paying that person to own 97% of your institutional knowledge. See, when you delegate and forget, you set up a vacuum that distances you from the profit levers in your own company. You don't know the who, when, where, what, and how of your own EHS management. In other words, you're not engaged enough in your EHS to actually make it drive profit for you. Some leaders are so divorced that they only get involved when something goes horribly wrong because that's when they finally realize that ultimately they're the ones that are on the hook. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but that's why I pay John or Jane to handle these things for me. That is operationally silent. It's quiet until the bomb goes off when John or Jane leave and go down the street for a 20% raise, and suddenly you're left to clean up the mess. And they didn't just take their talent, they took the inner workings of your permits, the background on your compliance history, and your operational how to. You're left with a P&L that's in jeopardy from a vacuum that you can't fill fast enough. You can start leading without the delegation vacuum and reclaim ownership of your EHS knowledge by number 1, becoming an informed, responsible official. Weaponize your inbox by getting on listservs for regulatory updates and by asking for applicable regulatory information from your trade association. Ask the staff managing your EHS to walk you through your permits, the rules that apply to your operation, and the activities that they're performing on site to make sure that you stay compliant. Don't be the uninformed leader that reduces trust, respect, and morale in the workplace. This just gives your employees a reason to leave and to take your EHS knowledge with them. Number 2, play EHS guy for a day. This is my take on CEO for a day. Perform a shadow audit of the employees that are actually executing your EHS program. Uncover their routine for a typical shift and take plenty of notes. You may need to observe multiple people for shorter time periods in order to get the full picture. By better understanding how the work actually gets done, you will be well positioned to suggest tweaks for increased performance or to even step in to ensure things run smoothly if your key EHS worker fails to show up. In any case, that information stays with you and the company instead of leaving with the worker in the event that there's a termination. Number 3, schedule regular internal EHS reporting. Stop managing EHS by crisis. Instead, get a weekly or monthly update from those that are actually executing the program. Ask questions and follow up on long-term projects and outstanding items that may need revisiting. By keeping yourself in the loop regularly, you know where your company is and where it is going with regards to EHS. You then own that institutional knowledge so it stays in the operation. Leading without the delegation vacuum is essential to owning your EHS knowledge and protecting your bottom line. After all, your employees aren't thinking, how can I save the company a little more money here? Or how can I make the company a little more money there? That's your job. And you can't do it without the proper knowledge, understanding, and tools to do so. Speaking of tools, I built one to show you exactly where your EHS reactive practices are draining your profits. Take 6 minutes and complete the hidden margin leakage scorecard. It's inside the Business Leaders EHS Resource Vault. I left the link in the description below. Now, let's move on to play number 2. Now that we've identified the vacuum, we have to kill it. And the only way to do that is to stop treating EHS as a feeling and start actually treating it as a hard asset. Talent play 2 is standardize on paper. Most of you are running a multi-million-dollar facility on primarily tribal knowledge. Think about this. If I told you you had to go and submit a toxic release inventory report to the EPA, could you actually do it? Probably not, because that how-to is locked inside Jane's skull. I know exactly how to do it. I'd log into EPA's Central Data Exchange, bypass all of the noise, and head straight to the Chemical Safety and Pesticides Program. That is the sort of high-level intelligence that keeps your facility running on a daily basis. But if that process only lives in Jane's head, it's not a process. It is a liability. When Jane exits for that extra week of vacation that the competitor offered her down the street, she takes the keys to your compliance with her. You're not left with a system. You're left with a password reset screen and a looming deadline. You need to turn that invisible intelligence into an operational mode. Here's how you standardize your knowledge so that it never leaves the building. Number 1, build the how-to EHS operational guidebook. Now, I'm not talking about a 50-page binder that sits on the shelf and collects dust. I'm talking about a tactical field manual. This is the step-by-step for the person that is actually doing the work. If Jane has to file a report, she needs to document the screen-by-screen clicks, the data sources, and the exact toggles that she needs to hit in order to be able to submit. This guidebook ensures that if Jane disappears tomorrow, the position survives even if the person doesn't. And that is real continuity. Number 2, build a master access vault. It sounds simple, but this is where a lot of manufacturers bleed out during a transition. You need a centralized, encrypted master access vault for every one of your external EHS reporting databases. I'm talking federal CDX logins, your state tier 2 portal logins, your insurance claims dashboards. If it requires a password, it belongs in your vault. Stop being operationally silent while your business critical access is tied to an employee's personal recovery email. Number 3, create a regulatory trigger map. Data is useless without a clock. You need a 12-month visual map of every single hard deadline that carries a potential financial penalty. This isn't just a calendar. It's a trigger map. It lists the deadline, the specific John responsible for it, and the red zone. The date where, if the task isn't started, your P&L is officially at risk. By putting the when on paper, you're taking the ticking time bomb out of your employee's head and putting the control back in your hands where it belongs. Standardizing on paper is how you transform EHS from a person-dependent risk into a system-dependent strategic profit engine. Once you've secured the knowledge on paper, you have the foundation. But having the information is only half the battle. You also have to ensure that the people you do hire aren't just warm bodies filling a seat, but high leverage assets that actually fit into your culture. That leads us directly into play three. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Denise, I don't have a John or a Jane. And our plant manager is already doing three jobs, and EHS is just the fourth one piled on top of everything else. Talent play number three is distribute the burden, don't delegate the risk. In a small shop, EHS usually gets folded into another role. You think that you're being lean, but in actuality, you're setting up a critical point of failure. If your maintenance lead is the only one that knows how to handle your hazardous waste manifest and he leaves tomorrow, your operational stability goes with him. Distributing the burden is how the small shops compete with the giants. You do not need a $150,000 a year EHS director, but you do need to stop treating EHS as a side project that lives in one person's head. Here's how you actually own that 97% with the team that you already have. Number one, the fractional ownership model. Break your EHS requirements down into 5-minute tasks and distribute them amongst your existing managers. Your floor supervisor owns the daily inspections. Your office manager owns the regulatory permit filings. Your maintenance lead owns the technical equipment calibrations. When EHS is everyone's 5%, it stops being one person's 1%. You've effectively decentralized the hostage risk. Number two, the blind spot stress test. Ask yourself, if your main EHS person leaves today, how many weeks would it be until you missed a deadline that triggered a mandatory enforcement action? Or worse, how long until a contractor gets hurt because the one person that actually knew the safety protocols is no longer there to oversee the work? Use the technical guidebook from Play 2 to run a no-notice drill. Have your shipping lead or your floor supervisor attempt to pull a specific compliance record or locate a permit limit using only the written instructions that you give to them. If they can't find it in 20 minutes, you do not have a system. You have a knowledge gap that is currently being subsidized by a single person's memory. This test ensures that your operational memory stays in the building even when people don't. Number three, hire for systems thinking, not EHS experience. The next time that you hire a foreman or a manager, don't look for an EHS background. Look for someone who can follow a checklist. Show them your operational guidebook and your trigger map during the interview. Tell them, in this plant, we don't wing EHS. We follow a system. Remember, you want the person that values the engine, not the person that wants to play the hero. When you turn EHS into a shared skill, you aren't just getting by. You are building a company that is resilient, predictable, and most importantly, profitable. Now, that's how you own that 97% using the people that you already have. Okay, let's take a look at how these three plays work together in order to lock down your operation. Let's recap. To actually reclaim that 97% of your EHS institutional knowledge and stop being held hostage by a single resignation, you need to execute these three talent plays. Number one, kill the delegation vacuum. Stop being a divorced leader. Engage with the process, shadow the work, and show your team that you aren't just a spectator. You're the actual owner of the outcome. Two, standardize on paper. Turn that tribal knowledge into a hard asset. Build your tactical field manual and your master access vault so that the how-to stays in your building, even when the person does not. 3, distribute the burden. Stop looking for the hero or the $150,000 a year savior. Use the team you already have to decentralize the risk. When EHS is everyone's 5%, it stops being the single point of failure for your operation. When you lock these 3 plays together, EHS stops being a side project and actually transforms into a strategic profit engine. The real enemy in your plant isn't your team, it's complacency. It's your reliance on EHS luck because you haven't locked these 3 plays together. And let's be clear, luck is not a strategy, it's a countdown. And after 23 years in this field, I can tell you that if you're guessing that your margins are safe, that your clock is already ticking. You don't need more luck. You need verification. Stop guessing and start auditing your P&L. I've built a tool that shows you where your reactive EHS practices and the complacency that fuels them is already draining your profits now. It's the hidden margin leakage scorecard. It takes 6 minutes to identify the margin leaks that are caused by your John or Jane dependents. It's inside the Business Leaders EHS Resource Vault at the link below in the description. True operational stability comes from an integrated system, not a handful of top performers. If you're worried that documenting your 97% is going to trigger a wave of employee pushback, then you need to watch my video on why you're accidentally firing your manufacturing talent right now. I'll see you there.